Before I make my short presentation, allow me to appreciate the council and my good friend Nora. I also want to appreciate Kate. Kate, please just stand up. Let's give her a good clap. I just get so encouraged by the way she does things and her professionalism. Kate talked about procrastination, and I learned something from it. You know, mentorship these days is 360 degrees. We are mentored by the young, and we also mentor the young. So I invited her one time to speak to the youth in my church, and it is actually because of Kate that I'm here today. Because last year she told me, Lynette, we must have your book at our convention, last year in March. And it wasn't ready. And she told me next year we must have it. So I have actually been working day and night not to let you down, and I'm happy that we are here. I also want to appreciate my daughter Tiffany. I don't know where she's seated. Maybe she stepped out. She's actually the one who has done the book design. She's a finalist student at the University of Nairobi, just completing her last semester. So I will go straight into the presentation. And I want to appreciate the speakers who have gone before me. I was just looking at Ted and asking Nora, how come his slides and his outfit look the same? Is it by design? So we are happy to be learning. Boniface talked about LinkedIn, and one thing I picked is that you must have a professional photo, and image is everything. First impressions matter, and that's part of what my book talks about. So thank you, Boniface. So I want to appreciate the theme that you have selected this year, Rooted for Impact. How do we leverage on digital skills, creativity, wellness, and sustainable living? At one point as I was sitting there, I wondered, is this convention for me or for the young professionals? Because I feel like everything just is falling right in place. So my route in etiquette began with what I call the quiet discipline of my youth. And I learned a lot from my grandmother. Probably just to tell you a short story briefly, my mother got married about 10 kilometers away from my home, from her home. And so there's always something special about your maternal grandmother, right? I don't know, but there's always something special. So we loved visiting her every single holiday. Where I come from, when you visit your maternal grandmother, you're given a hen for a gift. But what was strange about my grandmother, she always added us a cat, you can imagine. So I don't keep cats because I think I carried more than enough. And you know, cats can be aggressive, so she would have to tie it in a little sack. So you can imagine you're going to do 10 kilometers. There was no public transport at that time. 10 kilometers carrying a hen on one hand and a cat on the other. So one time I gathered courage, I told her, Grandma, we have enough cats. She said, no, your mother has friends, your mother has neighbors. So we kept on carrying the cat. So one time later in life, she was visiting Nairobi and she came to my house and I remember to ask her, but Grandma, why did you make us carry cats every holiday? Do you know what she told me? Which boy would talk to a girl carrying a cat and a hen on the road? And I realized she was not only keen on making us reach home early, but she was also protecting us from distraction. And there's much more that I have said in my book. The other route is what I call the finishing school environment. I attended Moi Girls High School, Eldoret, and I'm happy that one of the speakers today, Rael, please stand up. And where's Naomi? Please stand up. Anybody else who went to Moi Girls High School, Eldoret? Please stand up. My daughter Tiffany also did, but she's not here. We learned a lot in Moi Girls High School, Eldoret, and I remember my first impression and interest in dining etiquette dates back then. Because what happened is we didn't have one big dining hall like in many schools. So we had, were they 4? And then we would be served in tables of 10. So when you're served in tables of 10, we did things in rounds. So I think the Form 1s clear the table. Form 2s would do the serving. Form 3s would, everybody had a duty to play. And then, of course, when you're in 4th form, you just walk in as the dignitary and enjoy the meal. We also learned how to use a fork and a knife. By the way, we were not allowed to eat with our fingers. So fine dining dates back then. We learned that slippers are bathroom shoes. I got so shocked when I went to campus and boys would stroll into the lecture hall wearing bathroom shoes. So part of the, most of the nudges we learned way back in high school. And the philosophy I've carried all along, or I have learned, is that while technical skills open doors, it is conduct that sustains trust and credibility. So I want to quickly share 5 soft skills for today's professional. One is digital decorum, and the gurus are here and they have been talking about it. Your professional reputation is now your digital footprint. So we have to be very careful, because every email that you write, every WhatsApp message and post that you have online is permanent ink. It is not pencil and you can't rub it. So you have to be very careful. By the way, these days when you go for recruitment or you apply for a job, employers don't rely on the references or referees that you write on your CV. A lot of background check is done on social media. So please be very careful about the conversations that you have on social media, the kind of photos that you upload, because they create an impression. Young professionals must learn digital discipline, knowing when to disconnect to truly connect. Otherwise, a lot of times we spend a lot of time on social media and probably we are not having relevant content, as was said by, I think it was Boniface. Number 2, polished communication and active listening. True leadership is about the bridge between having a voice and having an impact. One author said, there are 2 types of people in the world. Half the world is composed of people who have something to say and they can't, and the other half who have nothing to say but they keep on saying it. Which side of the spectrum are you? So this starts with active listening, showing engagement through body language and giving the speaker your full attention. Skill number 3 is the power of punctuality. Punctuality is not about the clock, it's a mark of leadership and respect. Arriving late tells people their time is less important than yours. One time I was doing a board induction somewhere, and one board member shared an experience and said, there's this member of the board who comes late for meetings. And the moment he walks in, the first question he asks, kwani mulilala hapa? You can imagine how irritating that can be. So as young professionals, please learn that punctuality is a mark of leadership. Then there's aspect of workplace hierarchy and respect, understanding the unspoken rules of the office, and respecting personal space is vital. When you master these rules, it helps you as a professional to move from mere competence to true influence. I know right now we have different generations that are meeting at the workplace. We still have, who do we have before Gen X? What do we call them? Huh? The baby boomers. I think the workplace right now has baby boomers, Generation X, we have millennials, and we have the Gen Zs. They are all in the workplace at the same time. And these are generations who have different ways of doing things and different preferences. So if we do not respect the fact that organizations have protocols and hierarchies, then we are not going to have a conducive work environment. And sometimes that can also hinder our growth. Probably to the older generation, let's appreciate that the Gen Zs are they're taking over tomorrow justice, isn't it? Yeah, we will be a little flexible, or we ought to be a little flexible, but of course without losing grip. And let's also, the Gen Zs, learn that those who have gone before you have a lot of experience that you need to learn from. The innovation and creativity that the young people are bringing into the workplace is something that we need to tap. The last skill is social intelligence, the magic words. Never underestimate the power of thank you, sorry, please, excuse me. It doesn't make you less, but it creates a good impression. But Kenyans are very aggressive even when they apologize. Many times you hear people say, kama nimekukosea basi pole. Si pole bas. Kwani we hujui jokes? But then there's a time there was a fight between two ladies because one apologized. She stepped on the toes of the other, and then she said, sorry. Si hata we utamchapa. It is not about what you say, but how you say it. So I want to encourage you, young professionals, to author your own journey. The philosophy of, maybe I should ask Aluo to pronounce this for me. Is it chaka chaka? Chaka chaka. Yeah, so one time, and this has gone down into my book, I read a post from someone who said, chaka chaka nyadhina is one of the most captivating posts I have read on social media. In it, Dr. Okinyi Nyawade shares how his journey to a PhD began with very little hope. In 2012, he received his fee structure from Moi University, Kenya shillings 850,000. He met his father, Charles, at the Cooperative Bank branch in Homa Bay, and told him he had the admission letter. Then he added, Baba, there's a problem. They need 850,000. His father held his hands and slowly but reassuringly said, Nyadhina, chaka chaka. To make sure the message landed, his father opened his account and gave him Kenya shillings 14,000 from a balance of Kenya shillings 20,000. Dr. Nyawade added 16,000, paid Kenya shillings 30,000 to Moi University, and that is how the journey began, and the rest is history. So I have used that to start off my chapter on procrastination. In conclusion, I would like to say Etiquette Unspoken, a modern take on classic manners, is a practical guide for anyone. Right from the lady that Boniface described as Gen Z. Was it Boniface or, sorry, I confused. The lady in purple works with you, yeah? All the way to justice. All of us, from students to executives, who want to build stronger relationships and leave a positive impression. Good manners never go out of style. I recall one time in a training in Naivasha, in a workshop, you know how some hotels like to serve food by the poolside. So this gentleman served food. You know how you can be generous? Some people can be generous on the plate. So the food was literally spilling. And then as he walked to his table, his phone rang and he picked it. So he's on phone and he's carrying a full plate. And before he knew it, he missed a step. And what's your guess? Right in the swimming pool. Fortunately, he fell in the shallow end. So you don't know whether to help the man, to help the food, or to rescue the phone. A few tips on dining etiquette are carried right here. So the way we conduct ourselves speaks volumes about who we are. And finally, do you want to step out in style? Get yourself a copy. Get your friend a copy. Get the Gen Zs in your house a copy, or your boss who you don't know how to give feedback, so that then you learn how to navigate multicultural workplaces, digital landscapes, and social settings with confidence. So the organizers have been kind enough to give us a table right there, so you can pick a copy today, and I am certain that it will make a difference. Enjoy the reading. Thank you.